Hi, and welcome on into today's Learning Byte. My name is Scott Newman. I am a courseware developer for Juniper Networks, and I recently developed a class for the Security Threat Response Manager, aka STRM. And today I just want to spend a few minutes to discuss how we can look for events within the STRM. In other words, how can we use some of the searching capabilities that are available? So yes, you could probably call this a beginner level learning byte, but I think this is actually a pretty good one. This comes from a question that I do get from time to time on this product, and that is, what is the difference between filtering events and searching for events? Those are two options that are available when you go into the user interface of the STRM device, and they tend to look and feel like they're pretty much doing the same thing, if that makes any sense. So what we want to look at today is what the difference actually is, because there's a big difference. So we'll take a look at that here. But before I do that, so the example here, we're going to just do something simple. I want to search for an event based on a specific source IP address. Okay, so that's a pretty straightforward task. Let's switch over to our STRM device. Hopefully you can see that there. We'll just minimize this here so you don't see that. And I've got this opened up to the network activity interface at the moment, but it would be pretty much the same. If I switch over to log activity, I get the same option here. I have this option to search for Learning Bytes, and I have Learning Bytes for events, and I have the option to add a filter. And they have the tendency to do kind of the same thing here. So let's take a look. Let me go back to the network activity interface to just basically match up with what we want to look at here. So you can see our events are coming in fast and furious on this, and that's probably pretty typical of a larger scale environment. What we have going now is a script that generates a whole bunch of traffic. To basically emulate a high traffic environment here. But let's just do a little bit of review if we could just take a minute or two. You'll remember that we have two options here. You have the option which is to view events, and of course you can base that in real time. That's what we're looking at right now. That's the default view. But you could change it to the last 5 minutes, last 15 minutes, and so on. If I'm stuck in the real-time view, you'll notice that the only options that I have as far as display goes is the normal view and a custom view. So we miss out on a lot of our sort of predefined displays that are available. So looking for events based on IP address or application or so on. So let's change this here. Let's just look at events within the last hour. So we've changed this to the last hour. Now, of course, it changed to a static display here, and I see this is some of the information I've got running through. And so I get kind of a graphical view, and this is going to look fairly obviously in a real-world environment, the results might go up and down based on the amount of traffic going on. Right now, we have a script running that basically generates everything within basically a constant format. So, and then you scroll down further and you see the actual events. Now this is what we used to call flows in older versions of STRM, and we call these network events now at this point in time. But you can scroll these over here and you can see the time and this. And if I scroll some of these over a little bit more, here's my source IP address. This is the destination of the IP, but really it's the IP address as far as the country that assigned the ID. In other words, the IP address where the country is, or the country where the IP address is leased from, if that makes sense. So, but that gives us a good starting point. Where is this coming from? So let's just take a look here. I want to scroll up, and I'm going to change my display to be source IP. Okay, so this is the activity within the last hour based on source IP address. And I'm seeing that in this example, I am getting a lot of activity from a variety of IP addresses, but maybe I'm noticing that I'm getting an awful lot of activity from this particular IP address, 10.103.73.208. Okay, so I want to actually start investigating this a little bit further. So you might decide, okay, I want to narrow this down a little bit. I want to use a filter based on this IP address of 10.103.70.208. So I could go ahead and do that. And using the quick filter option, you'll notice here, I can just specify source IP. And we'll put in that IP address, which is 10.103.73.208. Add the filter. The page refreshes here. And of course, we're looking at source IP, and there's only one IP address, right? But what this does do is it allows us to narrow down the events based on the IP address itself. So now if I go in here, switch to the default display, I can see everything, but notice my filter stays the same. Source IP is 10.103.73.208. Okay, so that's the quick filter. The filter basically just allows you to, on demand, go in and apply a filter based on a specific criteria. So maybe I go in and add a filter again here, and maybe I go in and I say, let's specify a source port. And I could go in and put in, again, I don't have anything off the top of my head here, but let's just use something 54046. Obviously, it would probably be, you know what, let's change this to destination port. That's a little bit more realistic, right? Here it is. And let's see if we go in here. We'll just make up something here. 80 for web traffic. Add that filter. Now notice now we have two filters going in. Now there's no web traffic coming in from this particular IP address. Okay. Now we could spend a whole other segment talking about how you actually go in and investigate a potential attack. So maybe we'll save that for another Learning Byte. For now, we just want to show you how to use these two different tools. Okay, so that's the quick filter. I can go in and add additional filters if I want, but here's the big kicker. Here's the one thing that's lacking from a filter using this option, and that is that you can't really save it. Okay, I can go ahead and add filters, and I can clear these filters, and notice it's all on demand, it's all dynamic in nature, but I can't really save it. So that's where so this is basically, we're just going in and doing an on-demand look at what's going on the system currently. So that's where the difference comes in with the search, because with the search we can actually go in and basically do a predefined search on whatever criteria we want, and then we can save it for later use. So if I go in and click new search, I can do a search based on a variety of predefined elements that are already in place. Now notice here we've got a lot of saved searches. These aren't searches that I defined. These are searches that the system defined for my use, that you know, the developers thought these are going to be helpful when you're investigating an attack or when you're investigating a specific event that comes in. So I could go in and look based on outbound traffic, based on country or peer-to-peer. So these are all predefined, they're already there. You could go in and edit these searches if you wanted to customize it to your network. But let's say I just want to go ahead and create a search, and they're all based on, speaking of the predefined searches, they're all based on groups that are in here. So again, just allows you to go in and filter it out faster to find the one you're looking for. But if I wanted to go ahead and customize my search, notice I could just go ahead and do the time range. I could, again, the default's real time, but I could go in and, for example, put in a specific time. We'll just do real time just for fun. We could look again for search parameters, so I could do my source IP address here. And I could go ahead and define what that is, and now I don't remember what it is. I should have took note of it. But let's just go ahead and pretend it's something else here. Actually, I'm going to need to here. Let's go back. We got to make sure we know what it is. All right. My demonstration isn't going to be very effective if I can't remember the IP address. All right. Okay, so here we go. We'll search, and we want to do a quick filter based on source IP, and we'll go ahead and do 10.103.73.208, and we'll go ahead and add the filter. So that's kind of like the filter concept that we saw before, but notice this can be saved in a search. And I could go ahead and add additional filters here. So again, I could do the destination port. So we're basically trying to figure out what they're talking to. Or I could do applications here. You know, and notice the applications. I've got a list of predefined applications already in place here. So they're all there and available to you. I'm just going to leave it at source IP for now. I could do save results when the search is complete. I could go ahead and define what my columns are going to look like. So again, maybe I only want to see specific things like the source and destination IP and destination port, for example. Maybe I just want to define it that way. Well, we already got it in there. Okay, so here we group it by that, and so here you show how you group it, and then the columns are how, you know, basically you've got all of your columns pretty much in there by default, and you can go in and remove them or customize them that way or reorder them. Now we'll just keep it how it is. Now at any time I can just go ahead and click filter. Oh, here we go. Notice the message said that my real-time results, because I chose real-time, those real-time results can't be grouped. So it basically changed my settings there a little bit. But here we see the results. Now I see basically the results of my search. So the main benefit of the search over the filter option is that basically the filter is just something I want to do dynamically. Notice it basically looks like we've added in a filter, right? We have the source IP filter in our results here. We're grouping based on source and destination IP. But now I can go ahead and I click Save Criteria here, and I can save this as a search for use later on. So the main difference is that between the filter and the search is filtering is basically dynamic. Searching allows us to basically do a little bit more. It allows us to customize it, place it in, for example, I could save this as source IP, and then I could put it into a network monitoring group, for example. I can specify a time span here again just for the save. I can add it as a quick search so that it'll be available up here for me to access using the quick searches. So just a drop-down box, I can go ahead and just click on it, and right away I have that available to me. Okay. So again, real quick, real simple example for today, but we're going to be hopefully adding a bunch more STRM learning bytes to the system. So if you have a question that you would like me to perhaps demonstrate inside a Learning Byte, feel free to contact me. My email, snewman@juniper.net. Don't let the autocorrect change it to Snowman. Otherwise, you'll be sending it to Frosty the Snowman, I guess. So snewman@juniper.net, and just contact me. Put your subject there in the subject line, maybe your question, and then expand on the details there. And then let me know, and I'll respond and let you know if we can add it into a Learning Byte. Speaking of Learning Bytes, we have a ton of Learning Bytes on just about anything we have a product for at this point. A lot of Juno stuff in particular. But if you want to learn a little bit more, get beyond the scope of Learning Bytes, and spend some time inside an actual class, we have courses. We have a brand new 3-day course on the Security Threat Response Manager called Configuring Security Threat Response Manager, or CSTRM. It's a 3-day course, lots of hands-on exercises, and it's a great way to get your hands dirty with this product. So if you want to find out a little bit more about that, just go to juniper.net/training. Thanks again.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.